Canadian Border Agency investigating dozens of cases of potential Iranian officials allowed into Canada. This CTV article claims the CBSA says 131 visas have been cancelled by the IRCC. The CBSA has also opened 115 investigations, where 49 of those investigations have been concluded. The individuals in question were either not in Canada or determined not to be a senior official in the Iranian regime, and 66 of the investigations are ongoing. 20 people have been reported inadmissible by the CBSA for being an Iranian regime senior official, 19 of which either have or will be sent for an admissibility hearing. Following admissibility hearings, 3 individuals were found inadmissible for being prescribed senior officials and issued deportation orders. I made a video yesterday going over how our immigration system is broken, and this just further proves it. At least the government actually took steps to do something about it, but this shouldn't have happened in the first place. It's clips like this that reaffirm the fact that they are bought and paid for.
Well, of course, as you say, Donald Trump sort of looming large over the whole NATO summit. He is departing the NATO summit as we speak right now. We see these images of him, live images, about to get on board Air Force One and head back to the U.S. If we can, we would like to talk to you a little bit more about your interview yesterday with the Canadian Prime Minister, Mark Carney. Wondering what your main takeaways were from that in regards to that Canada-U.S. relationship, and how do you think Carney sees his role in the world now when it comes to that Canada-U.S. relationship?
Well, I did talk to him about that, obviously, and I said, you appear to be the new Trump whisperer. You guys text, you talk about substance, the tariffs, and all these other things. I cheekily said, did he threaten again to, annex Canada? And he said, no. And I think Prime Minister Carney has established a very professional relationship with President Trump. He, as I say, obviously passed the Oval Office test with flying colors, and it seems to have, given him a good working relationship with, after all, the president of the only world superpower right now, who does wield a lot of power, and the results are really very, very particular to each country and whether he gets on with each country's leader. But beyond that, Prime Minister Carney said that there were many, many issues that both countries had in common and had to deal with. And he also said, look, I've just come from Brussels, Belgium, where I signed a major cooperation deal with our European allies. And that was not to ice out the U.S., but to really acknowledge that now, with this president, they had to figure out, because he's thrown it at them now, they have to figure out how to pick up the pieces and work together to really create their own, the economic interests, their own defense and security interests, always saying, as Carney did to me, we want to work with the United States, but if we can't on certain issues, we must have a strong alliance of our own.
She calls him the Trump whisperer, but we still have not seen any deal made between Canada and the US. As a matter of fact, on a global scale, Carney could not be more irrelevant right now. And when it comes to American news, not one outlet actually cares about this US-Canada deal. The negotiations clearly went south, and Carney ran to the EU instead. And if we want to go even further, she's a CNN correspondent. All CNN does is bash one side while propping up the other, and we're seeing it right here again. And on top of that, Carney hates answering questions.
Prime Minister Thomas Hill from Bloomberg News. You've been in Europe several days speaking with leaders about security. And you campaigned to Canadians about rebalancing defence dollars away from the US. So I wanted to ask if you've had talks with specific European partners about fighter jets, submarines, specific big-ticket items that Canada is looking to procure.
The short answer is yes.
Can you be
on both, on fighter jets and submarines.
When can we expect to see decisions on those?
With the review of the F-35, we expect to complete by the end of the summer. If we need, we'll take all the time necessary, no more, and we'll go from there.
And submarines?
That's a longer process. It runs to 2027, 2020. At least it may be 2028 before the final decision. But it's a big procurement process, and there's multiple steps. But there's lots of interest in helping us in that.
Thank you. My other question, I'll try and be fast.
That's question 4.
Oh, heaven forbid the reporter asks the government questions.
About the commitment to hundreds of billions of dollars cumulatively you've made today. The parliamentary budget officer told us that implies high deficits unless you either raise taxes or cut major projects of social spending. So do you agree with him? And if so, how high a net debt to GDP ratio are you willing to run?
We will grow this economy.
Now I know why he doesn't like answering questions, because he doesn't have any good answers. This is exactly what the conservatives want to see. A man that has promised everything, but with no actual means to deliver it, and when asked actual hard questions, just stumbles and falls flat on his face. There is no way confidence isn't dwindling within the Liberal Party when things like this continue to happen over and over again. Not just in front of reporters, but during question period. He continues to make a fool of himself time and time again.
We'll grow this economy. We'll balance our operational budget in 3 years. That's our commitment. But we will also invest in this country, including in our defense industry.
And he just repeats the same 5 things over and over again. Anita Anand looks like she doesn't even want to be there, and David McGuinty looks like he doesn't even know what's going on there. And they are being led by a man with no legitimate answers. Anyway, I would like to know what you think down in the comment section below. Hit that like button, hit that sub button if you are new, and thank you so much for watching.